The Saturn Return is the core foundation of my research. I was learning about Saturn Return back in high school, but I did not take it seriously because I felt at the time that I did not have any experience in life yet to give any pointers to myself nor other people. However, I was still giving out small bits of information about life. However, what I grasped from my experience in my Saturn return was that adrenaline comes from fear tactics. This is a way to build a deeper bond within your intuitive self. The placements within your birth chart, the psyche, the moon, and Lilith and the IC are places where you will find your most deepest wounds that probably no one knows about. And no one has a perspective of it that you do. Even if you are wrong in your perspective, you will be able to find those little inklings in those placements. Saturn is ruled by Capricorn, along with I feel Aquarius energy, to be honest with you, but I know it's solely Capricorn. But when it comes to the fear tactics, I feel that you have to have an Aquarian mindset to understand the fear tactics. Like you would have to have a wide, broad view of what is being presented to you in the limitations, the structure, and the time that you have experienced these traumatic things, because usually Saturn is a bit traumatic. So with Saturn ruling time, Capricorn ruling time, and the bones, this is the foundation of your experiences. The interferences that you have within Saturn is kind of how I look at the double slit theory. And those are voided spaces, which those times of limitation you have nothing to do, because in your mind you are limited. What I gained from my Saturn return is the limitations are a fragment of your imagination. Yes, they're real in real life, but they are only there for a certain amount of time. If you pay attention to how long certain things are placed in your life, or interferences are like the length of those interferences, how long they've lasted in your life, you will know which part of your birth chart you resonated with the most. For myself, I resonated most with my Lilith and my moon placement throughout this whole time. And the placements, or I should say, the signs that I feel people should pay attention to is Aries, Leo, Virgo, and Capricorn. Those are all leading to your public self, which is your MC, along with the 10th house. I say that Aries starts to plan, Leo keeps the momentum and gives you confidence in order to keep the plan going. Virgo is how and who you service your plan to. And Capricorn, how long it will take and the obstacles you will face. All of this is for you to expand with your Jupiter placement. And within your Saturn return, you have to be okay with the Scorpio energy, which is changes that alter your project that you're working on. The project is AKA yourself, your inner being. The interactions that you have with people, places, or things bring you stability, which is the resources that you learn within your Saturn return, which is Taurus. The superconscious of this is Sagittarius energy, which is in the 9th house. This is giving you the overview and the higher perspective to have your resources, which is the 2nd house, a higher mindset, or I should say a expanded mindset, which is the 3rd house, partnerships with people that you socialize with, the 7th house. Again, the 9th house for long journeys, which the Saturn return is quite long. And the status that you come out of your Saturn return with being the 10th house. And all of this happens in the 12th house, which is behind the scenes. Along with understanding body language, I was learning body language in college when I studied psychology in undergrad. The main thing I feel that you learn with body language is discernment. And I say that in a sense of paying attention and observing how people react to your words, to your actions, and how they instantly change. I've gotten more negative than positive experiences, honestly. I'm not proud of it, but I'm, I guess, a walking trigger because of Scorpio being my rising sign. People don't really know how to interact with me. They don't know what angle I'm coming from, which I don't understand that exactly, but then I do understand it. But just to go back into body language is expressed through the spirit. The spirit is something that can be expressed in an uplifting way or a destructive way. And I feel that I've met more destructive people than uplifting. But you should know within body language, the spirit can be elevated due to the energy that you project onto the people you're speaking to. So I usually try to give warmth and uplifting words because I can see destructive energy within people. I have been able to do that for a very long time. And I've tried to hide that I can do that, so people would think that my niceness is fake when it's not. It's more of, I know that you need some love because you're not receiving it. Hence on, if you don't know me and this is the first time we've met, there would be no reason for you to give me hate or destructive energy, but you do anyway. So I usually just give love just off the strength of believing that people are just not getting it. Because if they were getting it, why would you need to show me the destructive energy? You get what I'm saying? So that's what I've gotten a lot of on my Saturn Return journey. I did learn in cosmetology, of course, that a lot of the energy that we hold is within our face, our neck, and our back. So if you have people who have poor posture, if you have people who have a lot of neck problems, they're facing a lot of struggles. And within their face, if you have the frowning eyebrows or the frown upon their grit, like when they grit their teeth, the tension that is in their mouths. I learned a lot of that in cosmetology school, because then you need to know how to give people good foundation for their makeup. You need to know what hairstyles would work good with their facial features. I apologize, I have a bit of a list, so excuse me. But yeah, their facial features, you would have to pay attention to those things. So I've paid a lot of attention to the facial features that people have. So that worked for me in the sense of reading body language. But the face, the brow line, the lips, and the nose, the bridge of their nose, if they scrunch their nose up often, just things like that helped me understand body language. So within my discernment, I was able to understand and view people from a psychological level versus them just being a social interaction. So maybe I got that little pull from psychology and cosmetology. So the face is ruled by Aries, which is in the first house. And in my opinion, looking at astrology, I used Aries as like the preparation for any project. Anything in life, I start from Aries. My moon is progressed in Aries, and truly at heart, I am a Pisces. And I'm not really proud of it, but I am proud of it because it helps me out in many ways. But okay, so body language is something that you can see straight out the gate with Aries because of the perception or appearance that we get to see from another person. With that being said, I listed the brow line, the lips, the nose, the shoulders, the neck. All of that goes with the sister sign, which is the anti-vertex, which is Libra. And that is how you learn discernment through the social interactions with other people. So Libra is balancing the scales, balancing out Aries energy along with the other energy, which is the people you're talking to. So the polarity, okay, so I put it in a little bit of a code, of course. But Libra balances out the scales of energies, polarities, concepts, and understanding. Libra brings in harmony to balance the two, but most of us are not viewing concepts as needing balance. But if you think one way and you meet somebody else that thinks another way, most people are not okay with agreeing to disagree. But agreeing to disagree is Libra's energy, balancing out concepts. And most people are not open-minded enough to view or hear another person's perspective. And that's why a lot of us are hard in comprehending another person's point of view. This has a lot to do with discernment, because you can discern another person and their perspective or their point of view for the way they live their life, or the way they parent, or the way that they choose their jobs, or the way that they eat their foods, the food that they eat, all the things that people choose to do with themselves, and they interact with other people socially. This is how you bring in Aquarian energy, which is a part of why I said with Saturn, you need Aquarian energy to have a broader view, which is a bit innovative, because if you've never experienced certain conversations or concepts, you need an overview to understand someone else's perspective, which Aquarius is very intellectual. So you would have to bring out that side of you to understand other people's concepts. That's what I also got from body language. So another instant, or I should say, thought process that I have is that body language is an emotional battle on one's face as they come off unruly or defensive. And if you can't see that someone is not taking what you're saying very well, then you are not able to communicate effectively. Because a lot of people show within their body language if they're uncomfortable, and other people will show in their body language if they're interested in the conversation to know more. And most people have that inkling to say or do things that don't really benefit them. And some people enjoy those things, but they don't think about the consequences later, which is offending people. And people who are offended by what you say, and they notice that you don't care that you offended them, that gives more drama to your social life than you really expected. Because later down the line, you find out that you offended someone, and then you're like, you could have said something, but then in that moment, no one was open enough to hear the criticism or the critique that needed to be given. So again, body language works very well with understanding discernment within your Saturn return. So with that concept that I just gave, our being, which is our consciousness, is being triggered emotionally to react or defend our concepts that we hold valuable. Whether they're right or wrong, a lot of us are going through those experiences during our Saturn return between the ages of like 26 to 35. I'm just going to be honest. Depending on people's consciousness or comprehension of their environment or of their own actions, it may take longer for people to understand the concept or the maturity that you need to get to, the maturity level that you need to get to in order to be in the 10th house of success and status that you're trying to reach. I hope that makes sense. Because I know that Saturn is a subjective experience when you are within your Saturn return, a lot of people are not going to be able to give you that internal perspective, because it's going to be their own perspective versus yours. So when I think about Saturn returns, I think of the interpretation of your own actions and how you are influenced by the background consciousness, meaning the 4 seasons, and your own consciousness that you have, your core values, your essence, and all the things that make you you. those are all going through transformational times all at once between those ages of 26 and 35. I think that a lot of us are not aware of that. And then there's that intersubjective part of us that wants to do things that people don't know that we want to do. The things that we've never disclosed that we want to do, the things that people have no idea are a part of our awareness, or the things that we're embarrassed to say that we want to do. A lot of those things come out during the Saturn return. The intersubjective part, I feel, is very close to your IC, which is the root and your ancestral lineage. I feel as though I have mine in Aquarius. So mine, my thought processes are very, very, very out there. And a lot of people would think what I'm saying is far-fetched until you see somebody already doing it slightly, or you see someone who's leading down that path just in a different way. And I say that to say, in my communication style, I'm going to say things that you wouldn't believe correlate with each other until you experience it. And again, that goes with my lineage, and I feel that is my Caribbean background. A lot of us are going to use the natural things, and I don't just mean herbal things. I'm not talking about that. I mean in the sense of the mind. Your mind is a garden, as they say in other esoteric knowledge practices and all that stuff. But your mind is a garden, so whatever you plant in your mind is going to grow and fester. Just like wild vines go all over the vine venue or vineyard. Yes, a vine vineyard. You're going to have to use that example as things that I'm explaining. If you put one thing in your mind and you don't apply action to it, it grows out of control because it's in your mind playing and playing and playing, but you do nothing about it. Whereas if you put action towards it, you then get fruit, which is the I shouldn't say obstacles, but I should say opportunities to challenge yourself in the real world, which meaning it materializes into the real world as you are thinking of ways to fix the problem that you're saying you have. Whereas myself, I always feel that people don't understand what I'm saying when I know they do, because if I'm using concepts or things that they understand and I'm linking those two together, it's because I'm making sense why people do not want to assume that it could be done. They've never seen something done before, so they think it cannot be done until I do it. And that's where it's like, oh, maybe it could be done. Maybe you're right. And that's fine. But by that time that I've done it, I've learned so much in the process. That's the reason why in the beginning, you should always listen to people, as I said in this prior video, that you will have to hear a different perspective before you just close it out or be closed to understanding or comprehending the concepts being given to you. Where the social aspect, people cut the conversation extremely short, or they do not entertain the conversation enough to grasp the concept that's being given to you. And most times it doesn't even have to be about what I'm talking about, but it does have to be about something you just probably have no knowledge of. So the intersubjective part of this, I feel, is social and culture aspects of one's knowledge. So in a way, as most of us are living by concepts that were given to us, and I believe in Age of Aquarius, we are making new concepts based off previous information, along with our own personal experiences that we've had within our lives, we are now linking concepts that go together and making sense of them to help people who have not reached the level that we are at right now. That's how I feel the age of Aquarius is going to start out, because a lot of us between the ages, I think it's 1984 to 1995, which is the millennial generation. That is a huge gap. And I feel that there's a lot of us that have deep-rooted intimacy issues. And I feel like in order for us to actually unite as a collective, even mentally, and I say that in a telepathic, let me not say that. I mean that in a way of a spiritual experience, maybe we will be able to understand new concepts and be open to them. That's how I feel that the millennials would be able to, because a lot of us don't want to admit that we agree in certain areas based off the concepts that are a part of our traditions. And that is why I feel right now, for myself, I feel no way standing alone. And I know that that's probably not the best thing for everybody, but it doesn't make it any better if most people aren't open to it. And in return, they're trying to change your mind to go to places that already are not working. So I have a major problem with solutions that don't really work. They don't serve the purpose for the problem. That's where I cut a lot of things off. And this is why I don't have a lot of people who understand me or even agree with me. I think people just appreciate my perspective, and I appreciate people who appreciate my perspective, because you don't have to agree with me all the time. I appreciate agree to disagree. I appreciate conversations like that, because that just allows me to know that someone heard me, and that's fine. Even if they're lying, I'm okay with it. So I think that Age of Aquarius is a collective understanding of our reality and how we can actually make it a better, not just a better place, but a better atmosphere, a better feeling that you can voice your opinion without feeling like someone's coming for your neck. And I think that if people would just not be so critical, and again, be a little bit more open-minded with themselves and new concepts, or just thinking of concepts in a different way, a lot of things would be better. But as I said, Capricorn and Saturn returns, like it rules time. So I know that it's going to take time. A lot of other people should know that it's going to take time. And I know that myself, in the midst of time, which is the double split theory, there needs to be some growth, meaning the transformation of Scorpio within those time frames of understanding the concepts within one Saturn return. I hope you guys are getting what I'm talking about. But yeah, the social norms that people are affected by in the world right now are going to be triggered by your IC, which is your lineage, and things that probably aren't really going on in your family, but within yourself, you feel that it's a tradition that you would do or would want to do because in a past life, you probably did it. I'm going to pause right here.